So, all right, big X hell, Graham. How was the latest adventure? There's a lot of adventures packed
Mm.
into this. I mean, A, it was a new
Mm.
course.
Yeah.
B, it was a new bike.
Mm.
But C, it was
Yeah,
the same
lots of new
shoes.
things.
Same shoes. Yeah. So let's talk through that.
Same
Tell me,
shoes.
tell me, tell us
Yeah.
about Middle Earth, Gandalf.
Sandals. Yeah, the sandals are not going anywhere. That's permanent. I did something to my foot this summer training for Kings Road, and
Yeah.
I need to go to the doctor, but it's a bunion. I don't want to get surgery, so I'm just trying to wear a comfortable shoe. And sandals, man, there's a lot of advantages, but they are super comfortable. And now when I go on these multi-day trips, I don't have to bring an extra pair of shoes. Like those are
Right.
just my all the time shoes, and they
All the
do clip
time.
in. So
Nice.
I mean, it wasn't part of the plan, but it's a win-win. So
Yeah,
those were
definitely.
definitely deployed on this new. So this route I've had going for in the building phase for a few months. Honestly, I've been looking at different parts of it. I've actually gone out and ridden parts of it. Like up in the
Uh-huh.
north side, I was kind of worried about like the part where you crossed the border into Georgia, because I knew there was possibly some like closed bridge and
Right.
unknown roads. So I'd gone out and ridden some of it and found some cool stuff. There's a video I did on the zombie bridge that was when I went and checked out and had found this bridge that was blockaded, but you could go around it. And then I ended up getting a flat and having to get an Uber in the middle of nowhere. It was kind of funny. One of my usual debacles. So that was all part of it. So I had this. I built the route, had it ready. I talked to Carlos a little bit about wanting to go do it, and then over Christmas, we were supposed to go on a family trip, and my oldest daughter got sick, my wife got sick, so we ended up not doing anything. And my wife's like, "You need to get
Hmm.
out of here." I was like, "Oh, perfect. I got I got this thing."
That's
And so I
awesome.
kind of posted it up and on Instagram. Actually, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go try this route." And Mike Smith hit me up, direct message me. He's like, "Hey, when you going?" I'm like, "Tomorrow." And he's like, "I'm in." And
Nice.
he had no idea what he was getting into, and honestly, parts of it I didn't either.
Yeah.
So I mapped it out. We were kind of bouncing around, like whether we wanted to camp or do all this, and but it's almost 200 miles, and I had a, even though I had time, I did had like 2 days. We had, New
Right.
Year's Eve is the finishing day. Mike had to get back for a party. I kind of needed to be home for something. I forget, but um, we're like, you know what? We're just gonna. I found a hotel halfway point, Hampton Inn. I was like, this is where we're staying. Meet me in Lusty, Florida. Send him the coordinates at some Florida trailhead, and let's meet there at like 7 a.m. on
Right.
December 30th. And we did. And so the cool thing is, this is a spot that is historic because it's got the Lusty battlefield, which is the largest Civil War battle in Florida. So it's a lot of history there. It is the actual battlefield. So
Nice.
there's cemeteries, and as we found out, there's bodies buried everywhere. You can still find bullets in the woods. I mean, it's
That's
all very
crazy.
natural. Nothing's been done to this area other than a monument was put up, and they do a reenactment there every year that draws 10 to 15,000 people every year.
Oh,
It's
wow.
huge. So we parked there, meet up there on the 30th in the morning, and just started our ride. And
Yeah. And I got to watch the video. And so a couple things I saw was there was looks like some water crossing. Was that a
no,
planned,
no,
unexpected?
it was an accident. That's why we go and proof things. We took a wrong turn. I know where the problem is now, and I fixed it on the route, but we ended up in a place we shouldn't have been, and then tried to get out. So we ended up having to do a creek crossing.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's dry right now. You could tell that creek could have been chest deep, a
Oh,
couple of months
wow.
ago. Yeah, for sure. But we just got lucky because right now it's really dry, and we're able
And I
to
would say
cross over it.
even on the front side, I mean, when you guys left, you were just next to the course, so that was kind of an indication of things to come, right? Some surprises.
Oh
We're kind
yeah.
of running parallel to it.
Dang it. Yeah, that was disappointing. Because we started our ride, and I thought we were
Right.
going on a little road. We ended up on the railroad tracks and the bumpy rocks and stuff. And come to find out, the actual trail or road we were supposed to be on was just like 20 feet over to the right.
Yeah.
And it was just like a mile and a half, but I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah, and I
Oops.
would say too, because you can watch these videos obviously because I mean I watch them and I think a lot of people watch them and a lot of times I'll watch them just when I'm doing if I'm Zwifting inside or if I'm training inside because it if
Mhm.
I can't go outside it gives me at least a sense of hey I'm doing something even though I'm just sitting in my garage spinning or whatever but um, there's a debate out there though in the bike packing world though Graham
Yeah.
and I think you have kind of you're kind of finding the pinch point because some people say that bikepacking requires you to sleep on terra firma, which is the earth,
The
right? The
ground.
earth.
Yeah.
I call that bike RVing. Like if you carry your
Uh,
sleeping stuff on your bike, that's bike RVing. Bike
yeah.
packing, you're carrying stuff. But speak to us. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I like hotels.
Mhm.
I think it's great. Like you can wheel your muddy rig in there, and like, hey, I'm gonna have a good night's rest. But there are some that would disagree. Like, right? I mean, have you found that in the bike community, cycling community?
I mean, there's a little they'll get a little grumbles about even Carlos is like, did you sleep in a tent? um, and I do own a tent. I've used it once, and I'll planning on using it again at some point. But I think it's just more about getting out and doing this. I don't think it really matters. I mean,
Right.
it's about the adventure and however you want to do it. I mean, there's plenty of people that credit card bike pack, and that's just staying in
Yeah.
hotels, Airbnbs, and that's fine. I don't.
Right.
I'm not going to judge, but I have had like a little bit somebody to comment on my video bike packing question mark question mark question mark question mark basically like hey
Yeah.
where's your tent dude and I get it and I do like that part of it but at some
Right.
point when I realize like how much ground we have to cover and the unknown of what might be. I mean, even that first road we were on, I wasn't sure if
Right.
that was going to be passable. This is a road where
Right.
it's a public road, but there's nothing on it, and there's some
Right.
sand on there. Luckily, I had some pretty big tires. You mentioned like the new bike. The new bike has some really big tires, and we got through it fine. But I didn't know what I was getting into,
Yeah.
so I really
Well,
wanted to be light and fast.
yeah. And yeah, a couple things there. I think, I'm obviously a fan of making your life as easy as possible. I mean, why would you bike into the wind if you had another way to go? I mean, you could if you're trying to prove a point, or if that's your only direction, you have to. But in the same sense, too, there's something to be said about getting a good night's rest. And whether you can get that on the ground in your tent or in a hotel, great. Do whatever is good for you.
Yeah.
But watching the video, though, I will say too that I was surprised. Like I know that there was rain before you had gone out there,
Hmm.
but I was surprised at the deep sand that you guys found. I don't know what road it was,
Oh yeah.
but it was pretty. That was deep.
Oh, that one we
Heartbreaking.
took a picture. Yeah, it was actually just like this road between two neighborhoods that I think they
Okay,
deliberately churned it up so people wouldn't go between the neighborhoods. That
gotcha.
was the only dismount we had all day, and it
Oh,
was just kind of a funny like little short section. Me and Mike were laughing about it, like, "What is this?"
yeah, that
Holy
was pretty
cow!
something.
It was this really cool little neighborhood, dirt road neighborhood going into Middleburg, and so we stopped and took a couple pictures of the sand. But
Yeah,
um,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that was actually we actually did pretty good from the standpoint of the sand. We did get lucky with the rain coming through the day before, a decent amount of rain, and that helped a lot with a lot of those
Right.
roads. Um,
Yeah,
so
and so
anyway,
give us, I guess, a general overview, kind of like I know it's in Northeast Florida, but for those that might be watching, I mean, kind of where you could probably start in a lot of different areas,
yeah.
but like total distance, kind of the things that they would see on the road, what they would expect, and maybe where they could start. What are some ideas with this
um,
particular Middle Earth
yeah,
route
this
that you
route
you created?
it's deep and like there's no coasts, there's no scenic vistas over the ocean or rivers. It is I called it Middle Earth because it's really just in the middle of the forests. We go through six state forests in 200 miles in two cities. That's it, Middleburg and
Hmm.
Keystone Heights, and that's it. I mean, it's very much out there. There's really not many stores. There's not many people. There's not very traffic, which is great. It's super remote. So that's why I called it Middle Earth because it is just
Yeah,
completely out there. If you look at the state of Florida, just up in between Jacksonville and Gainesville, it's just big patch of darkness. And so we rode straight into the darkness and passed through like all these different state forests. It's really
right.
cool from the standpoint of you really don't encounter much from the standpoint of of cars or people, or there's some pavement, we're crossing through into different state forests, but it's just these beautiful state roads and state forest
Mhm.
roads that are a lot of lime rock. And those roads are fantastic. You just have to, watch out for the hunting seasons, because these are regions where hunting does happen. Their hunting seasons are specific to each individual state forest.
Mhm.
It's not the regional hunting season. Each forest has their own specific hunting seasons within the hunting season. So you have to, and I did all that homework to make sure we weren't running into any issues. And
Right.
that the hunting season for those areas had ended in November, thankfully. So we had no issues with hunters. But I did wear orange just in case, because we are passing through hunting leases where the hunting season is very active. And so I
Right.
typically wear orange this type of year, so that in my water pack is orange, just to be as safe as possible. And the hunters appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate what they do. I don't want to interfere with it. I don't want to get in the
Yeah. I
way either.
mean, it's been a long time since someone has, hopefully, mistaken a cyclist for a deer, but I mean, it could happen. You never
Oh
know,
yeah.
out in these woods or, whatever. So it's good to be safe. And it's good to check those things. Um, I guess so I also saw in the video, there's a coffee shop stop
Oh yeah, it's
that you
good.
got. And was that in Keystone? Where was that?
Keystone Heights Firepower Coffee.
Okay.
It's a good spot.
Yeah.
I've started rides from there before. Great coffee. They roast it all there, and also they bake their own baked goods. So
Yeah.
now something new I found there was espresso cookies they make.
Oh, nice.
That were
Nice.
I packed some in my bag to come with me. I was eating them even the next
Yeah.
day. I was pulling out of my
That's
bag
good.
day two in the banana
That's
bread. I had
awesome.
some. I kept some, yeah, 'cause it's a great spot. Anybody
Yeah.
going through Keystone Heights, like it's a good little, if you're like coffee, that's a good rest stop. But
Yeah.
Keystone Heights has all the like stores and stuff, but there's no hotels in Keystone Heights. It's a very small town. You call that a town, but it's got like a grocery store and Circle
Right.
K and whatnot. But you're in
Family
and out of
Dollar.
Keystone Heights. Yeah, Family Dollar.
Gotta have
You're,
Family Dollar.
yep, you're in and out of Keystone Heights. It's nice. The paved trail goes right through there, the Palatka Lake Butler State Trail. So that's what I love too, is we're connecting a lot of these paved trails with this loop. So there's very
Right.
little road riding. It's very much paved path and dirt roads, man. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So it sounds like this route could be really for a couple different people. One, it could be for the person that wants to just take it easy, enjoy, see something they've
Hmm.
not seen before, get in the woods in a few different state forests. Or it could also be for the person that says, you know what, I'm gonna go knock it out in one day.
Oh yeah, sure,
Right? I mean, they could go
totally
knock that
doable.
out if they wanted to, but
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff like up through north of Middleburg. You go around the equestrian center, these little
Mhm.
paved paths in the forest and the dirt roads, and then you go into through there's a fishery, and then this little road that goes under the interstate. There's a little underpass under I-10 that goes into the fishery and up
Yeah.
into the Cary State Forest. It's really cool, man. I was surprised. I can't believe it worked, honestly. I was really worried
Mhm.
about a few specific areas, and it all came together really nice.
Yeah. And then I saw, you did experience a little bit of trail magic. It sounds like day two, you got an extra engine
Oh,
to
Sydney
help do
showed
some
up.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, Sydney, we had he's a horse, man. Yeah, he saw like we
Yeah.
had put the tracker out where we were, and Sydney's pretty
Right.
close, so he joined us for like three-fourths of the last day. Such a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Really, we
That's
had to
good.
like we had to rein him in a couple times because he's on his gravel bike, just on like 20
Tearing it
pound
up.
gravel bike. We're like into day two, 160 miles in, loaded down with stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm on 2.3s, and Mike's on 50 millimeter tires.
Wow.
We're not on like, so we had to like pull him back a little bit, like and Sydney was great. He's like, okay, how fast do you want to go? Like,
Yeah.
just do 15, man, 15 or 16 or
15,
something.
50, 16 downhill.
Yeah, or something. Just like give us
That's awesome.
and honestly, and I told him, I go, listen, I'm not in a hurry. I want to enjoy this. Like,
Yeah.
you can get that mindset, like you want to get to the finish, but rides like this, man, I don't. I want to stop and
Right.
take it in. I really want to
Yeah.
like slow down. Like, I'm not in a hurry to get home to get on the couch. I want to stay
Right.
out there and really see things. And Mike is the best for that. Mike Smith is awesome as a riding partner because he will stop and see things that I don't see. He's got an eye. He's got an eye for photography
Yeah.
too. He's just got a
Oh,
really good
good.
eye for cool things. We stopped quite a bit to experience and soak in some things that I would have kept riding by. He's
Yeah.
better at that than I am. He's just such a good partner, especially stuff like that. He was super excited. He's like, "Oh man, we can take our time," and he really did. We did all the fun things that we could think of.
Yeah.
There's like some cool stuff in the forest. There's an old abandoned fire tower he might have climbed up. There's some bridges that we'd stop and enjoy, or just a view or a sunrise, and that's the thing is, I just wanted to slow down. I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. This is
Right.
I don't get to do this much. Like to get this kind of time to be on a bike for 2 days straight. I love riding my bike all day. And if I get a
Hmm.
chance to do it, I want to soak it in. I don't want to
Right.
hurry up and get to the finish. It's different. And it's a different mentality that's developed with this bike packing stuff and being around people like Mike that make me appreciate I don't know, I'm just lucky to be able, at my age, to be able to do
Yeah.
something like this. To be able to have the health. Luckily enough, my health is good, um, and the ability to go do these things. It's so
Right.
cool. I love it.
Yeah. And really, when you're kind of talking about bikepacking, I mean, you kind of opened it up there, but I mean, it's a lot of people can jump into it because it doesn't have to be extremely fast.
Right.
Um, you can dial it back from 15 if you need to. It's just whatever your speed is,
Mhm.
just to kind of get out there, get it done, kind of, experience some of that adventure, which makes it really nice. But I think the key there is that, taking advantage of getting out, um, away from the house, away from the norm, the
Yeah.
paying the bills, the animals, the whatever you got going on,
Right.
work. It's like,
Yeah.
and to kind of get out and enjoy, just man, being out on a bike and in the woods and kind of experiencing life a little bit. And that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why I'm bringing my tent on this next trip because I need to be. I mean, I appreciate why people like that part of it so much, and I have done well, I've done it once, but
Yeah.
I I appreciate the fact that you get to a place and you're in the woods and you're really out there. You're not once you
Right.
get in a hotel, TV start going, you go into restaurants and which is all nice, but it is nice to really disconnect. And so I'm gonna go more on the side of the the feral bike packer than the
Hmm.
urban bike packer going to hotels.
I love it.
I'm trying to get I'm trying to go more that direction. And so
Yeah.
my next trip with a couple of guys next week is going to be uh, purely tents, man. I'm sleeping on my tent. I can't
So
wait.
we
It's gonna
can
be
let
great.
Carlos know right now that that's happening.
Yes, the
So
tent
we're
is
we're and
happening.
that the next video on the next adventure is going to have you in a tent. Like you're going to
Yeah,
stay in the tent, and it won't be in the
yeah.
hotel. It'll be outside the hotel.
They may have to help me. This guy Matt Borbs is he's like a Viking. He calls himself the Viking on his
Yeah.
Instagram. He's a big
Hmm.
bearded guy. He's the best man. And
Uh-huh.
so he's one of these guys. He'll keep me safe from myself. I think he's all
Well,
pumped.
that's
So we're
good,
gonna
man.
yeah yeah. Those guys are awesome. That's this community, man. It's just full of great people there. They're
Yeah.
in it for that too. They're just some of these guys. Sometimes we race these races and some the bike packing
Yeah.
races, but a lot of it, man, is just like let's go have some fun and get outside. That's why anybody can really do it. I
Right.
mean, a lot of Carlos's events are so beginner friendly. Average speed is like 8 to 10 miles an hour.
Hmm.
Carlos will stop and you know basically give you a tour of what area you're in. He's got historic knowledge and local
Hmm.
knowledge of all these places, and he'll talk about things go all the way back to when the Native Americans were in the areas, and that he
Hmm.
knows so much, and I've learned so much from him. It's really that's the cool thing about these trips is, man, really anybody can do it. You
Right.
just gotta start.
Yep. So if you're listening and watching, I think the words of advice, and I've experienced this, just kind of knowing Graham myself, but you got to get a bike, get yourself some equipment, whether you go sandals or shoes, it doesn't really matter, but
Mm.
then just get out there and enjoy it. There's chances are wherever you're at, there's going to be a community of people that value this. Whether they go out for a 50-mile ride or a 20-mile ride, a 100-mile ride, doesn't really matter. You do you. But what you're going to find is hopefully it's something that you enjoy, and then you can do some stuff like Graham has on his YouTube. There, you see a lot of these adventures and a lot of these folks who are doing that. folks here in Florida doing a lot of different adventures. But it's just one of those things you can get out and do, whether you're just staying in the city or whether you're heading out to some remote area where you really have to rely on GPS because you've never been there before. The idea is just to get out and kind of enjoy that. So,
Yeah.
Graham, any parting words of wisdom to really kind of help that person move from the couch to the bike to get them out?
Yeah, ask the
What would you say?
questions. The community is so supportive. If somebody's really interested in doing this, and all you have is like a gravel bike or even a mountain bike or whatever, just ask questions. I mean, Carlos at Single Track Samurai has got events specifically geared towards whatever you're trying to do. There's there's stuff for gravel bikes, there's stuff more mountain bike specific, there's stuff for beginners. I highly encourage engaging Carlos because he is so enthusiastic and loves new people, loves it. And he's
Hmm.
just trying to reach new people, and to show people what he's experienced. I mean, I think he'd like to do it for free, but the good thing is like we're trying to figure out a way for him to make a living, so he doesn't, so he can do this forever as long as he wants to, and that's why I
Hmm.
support him so much. Like the route file for this loop, we're going to turn it into probably a 3-day bike packing trip because there is a lot of camping through these different state forests. We'll do something like that. I've also been
Hmm.
contacted by a couple of people who might want to do another 2-day run, but the route will be available through Carlos next week, and any payments made goes towards Florida Bikepacking and Carlos's Single Track
Yeah.
Samurai company who puts on all these events. And that's my where my heart is what he's doing, and I really try to support him because he will take
Hmm.
anybody who's interested in, including me. He's helped me a lot, um, and help them, and just show them the way. It's he's got a heart for people. He's just he's the right guy for that. Thank goodness
Right.
for him. So
Yeah.
I look forward to sharing this route with others. Um, there's parts of it some people have seen. There's a lot of it nobody's ever seen. People trying to figure out where it is. I'm like, dude, it's just I don't know
It's
how it
it's
came together.
it's deep in there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So next
Well,
week will be
I know.
Tally Tango next week with Matt, and it's 160 miles of real bike packing on like single track and stuff. So I'm excited
Okay.
to. We'll see how the. I gotta find my tent. It's around here somewhere. It's in a drawer back here. Pull it, dust it off. And I gotta remember
You
how
just
it
need a
works.
tarp. You just need a tarp.
Oh man, no, no, no,
You can just do a tarp.
no.
Well, I know. Well, I know we all appreciate the work that Carlos does, and we appreciate all the work you do as well, and several others who kind of the trailblazers and kind of go and find these places that make it easier for people like myself and others who are kind of new and are less experienced in the routing of things. Because I know I've enjoyed being able to, I can send you around and be like, hey, is this good? And you're like, no, don't go here, don't go here. And oh, I would have never known that.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
so it's just really cool to do that. So I appreciate you guys and appreciate you sharing your adventures. We're looking forward to the next one, and we better
Yeah.
see you in the tent. Better see you in the tent.
Oh, it's
So
it's happening. Oh, it's happening, Billy. It's going down. Door
awesome.
going
Well,
up.
Graham, well, thanks for sharing your adventure, and we look forward to seeing more of them when you post them.
Thanks, Billy.
All right. Yep.